Okay, good morning. I will go over your homework and I'll take a look at a couple quizzes and then I'll review some questions that will be on your test. And then you will have a review test to do for me today. So the homework I gave you 20 through 30. Of course, also make sure you have the guided practice problems that I did with you in class. So make sure you have those in your homework as well when you turn it into Schoology. But number 20 was negative 8, 4, 21, negative 7, 13, 22, 3 plus or minus root 5, 23, x minus 9 squared, 24, x plus 5 squared, and 25, x minus 1/4 squared. And then 26, the answer was negative 1 plus or minus 2 root 2, 27, 2 plus or minus root 3, and 28, 2 plus or minus root 15. 29, the zeros were 2 and 6, and 30, you had negative, we'll just write it negative 3 plus or minus root 29 over 2. Okay, so again, if you have any questions on those, join my WebEx or shoot me an email. I'd be delighted to go over those with you. So that was the homework. Now, and again, when you turn this in, I need to see your work. So if you happen to do your homework for the first time, after reviewing this, and you just jot down the answers, you will not get credit for it. So let's see here, assessments here. Well, let's take a look at the quiz. I'll take a look at that one shortly. But I'll take a look at two quizzes that were given, okay? Because you'll have problems very similar to on the test. So quiz B, so you had to find the vertex of the quadratic function. You had to find the vertex of that quadratic function. So remember, to find the vertex, you have to find the axis of symmetry, which is x is equal to negative b over 2a. And then you plug your axis of symmetry into the equation, and then that will give you your vertex. So all right, so let's walk through this here. So vertex, negative b over 2a, that's your axis of symmetry. Take your axis of symmetry, substitute into the function, and you'll get your k value. Remember, the vertex is hk. All right, so number one, a is negative 2 and b is equal to 12. You put that into the axis of symmetry, and you get 3. Negative 12 divided by 2 times negative 2 will be 3. And then you substitute 3 into the quadratic function, and you would get 3 as well. So you'd get 3 as well. So this was 3. So your vertex is 3, 3. Right? So your vertex is 3, 3. Number 2, okay, you had a negative which reflected across the x-axis. Anytime that coefficient there, if you just take a look at the absolute value, if it's less than 1, it's a compress. You compress by 1/2. You went to the right 3. Here, remember, h is equal to 3, and then k equals 4. So you went to the right 3 and up 4. Again, remember the vertex is hk. Okay, the general form, g of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k, where h and k is your vertex form. Okay, the next one, number 3, you factors of negative 6 are negative 6 that add up to 5. Ooh, that is so wrong. Let me erase that. Factors of negative 6 that add up to 5. That would be positive 6 and a negative 1. So that would be x plus 6 times x minus 1. There we go. That's better. 6 minus 1 is 5, and 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. And we set those equal to 0. We find our zeros and set each factor equal to 0. So x plus 6 equals 0, x equals negative 6. And x minus 1 equals 0, and x equals 1. So those are my zeros there. Some of you just factored. Okay, number 4, so you have to factor out that negative. And that leaves you with x squared minus 6x minus 7. Now factors of -7 that add up to -6, that's -7 and +1. So we have x minus 7 times x plus 1. We set each factor equal to 0. We get x is equal to 7 and x is equal to -1. Okay. Number 5. Okay, so the leading coefficient here, a, is not equal to 1, so we do the crisscross method. Okay, so 2x times x, that gives me my 2x squared. So that's my 2x squared. And then -1 times 2, that gives me my -2. And then, so 2x times 2 gives me 4x. Crisscross minus x gives me 3x, and that's what I want. So my factors are 2x minus 1 and x plus 2. And I set each factor to equal to 0. 2x minus 1 equal to 0, x is equal to 1/2, and x plus 2 equals 0, x is equal to -2. Number 6, that's a difference of squares. Okay, 9 is a perfect square number, x squared is a perfect square variable, and 25 is a perfect square numbers. So you use the difference of squares formula. A squared minus b squared equals a minus b times a plus b. So when you factor that, you get 3x minus 5 times 3x plus 5. You set them equal to 0. So 3x minus 5 equals 0. X is equal to 5/3. And then let's see here. 3x plus 5 equals 0. Yeah, come on. And then 3x plus 5 is equal to 0. X is equal to -5/3. So I tell you, this thing never wants to work right. All right, so there. My zeros. And then number 7, we have 4x squared plus 12x. So I can factor out 4x from 4x squared and 12x. 4x times x is 4x squared, and then 4x times 3 is 12x. So I factored out 4x and set each factor equal to 0, and I get x is equal to 0, and then x is equal to -3. And then another quiz. So here, we had to find a vertex. So again, a is 3 and b is equal to 18. I plug it into the axis of symmetry, and in the end I get -3, -4 for my vertex. My axis of symmetry was -3, and when I substitute -3 into that function, I get -4. Number 2, it was a reflection across the x-axis. Here it's vertically stretched by 2 anytime that coefficient, the absolute value of that coefficient, is greater than 1, is a stretch. If it's a fraction, it's a compression. If it's less than 1. So this was stretched by 2. It went to the left 1. Okay, so h is equal to -1. And then k is equal to -1. So it went left 1 and down 1. Number 3, you have to factors of a positive 24 that add up to -11 is -3 and -8. You factor, you get 3 and 8. You find the zeros. Okay, and then number 4, you had to take out the negative, so that will give you x squared plus 12x plus 35. Factors of 35 that add up to 12 or 5 and 7, so numbers, yeah. 5 and 7, so your factors are x plus 5 and x plus 7. Set them equal to 0, and you get x is equal to -5 and x is equal to -7. Number 5. Okay, so again, you use a crisscross method, and when you factor that, you'll get 3x minus 2 times x plus 2. You set each factor equal to 0, and you'll get 2/3 and -2. Remember the zeros. Number 6 was a difference of squares. So the square root of 16 is 4, the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 25 is 5. So my factors are 4x minus 5 and 4x plus 5. Set each factor equal to 0, and you get 5/4 and -5/4. And then number 7, so I factored out a 3x. I factored out a 3x from 3x squared plus 9x. Again, check 3x times x is 3x squared, and 3x times 3 is 9x. I set each factor equal to 0. I get x is equal to 0, and x is equal to -3. So I went over 2 of the quizzes. There were other versions, but they're very similar. Okay, so follow these 2, and you should understand what you did wrong on the quiz. I did provide comments though. Okay, so that will help you. But review this here. You have a test tomorrow. Now, I'll review a copy of the test here. So what to expect. So just a couple problems here. I just went over some of the other problems that you'll have on the test. But here, using the graph of f of x equals x squared as a parent, describe the transformation, find the vertex. Okay, remember vertex form. So f of x, we're not doing the transfer, f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k, where h and k is the vertex. Okay, so there, if I have a x plus 4, that means I went to left 4. So my vertex is going to be negative 4. And then I went up 2. Okay, so negative 4, 2. So what's the transformation? It was vertically stretched by 2. Vertically stretched by 2. Again, because the absolute value of that is oops, it was vertically stretched by 3. What are you looking at? It was vertically stretched by 3. The absolute value of that is greater than 1. Oh, and I didn't see that negative there, so it was a reflection across the x-axis too. So it reflected across x. Because I have that negative. And then it went left 4. Because h is negative 4, and then up 2. All right, let's look at the next one. Describe what's the vertex there. Okay, so I didn't go anywhere left or right, so my vertex, the axis of symmetry, is still x is equal to 0. And then I went down 4. Okay. All right, if you wanted to take a look, x minus 0 squared. That's just x squared. So my vertex is axis of symmetry is 0, and I went down 4. So describe the transformation down 4. All right, down 4. And then the last problem. Now these aren't the only problems you'll have on your test, but I've already gone over the quiz you had. Well, these will be the type of problems you'll also have on the test. So review those too. Okay. And then the last one here. For the functions, determine whether the graph is happy or sad, opens up or down. Remember, if a is negative, this is a sad graph. But if a is positive, it's a happy graph. So, all right. So here, and then find the axis of symmetry, find the vertex, find the y-intercept, find the minimum and maximum. And I'm not going to give you a domain and range, but then you'll have to graph it. I will do domain and range on the next test. All right, so does this graph open up or down? Well, down because it's negative. A is negative, so it's a sad graph. We have to find the zeros or roots. So again, I have to factor out that negative. So this is going to be x squared minus 3x minus 18. So this will be x minus 6 times x plus 3 equals 0. And then when I find the zeros, I'll have negative 6. I mean positive 6 and 3. Positive 6. And a negative 3. So I know my zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then negative 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so the axis of symmetry here. So we have, looking at this here, x is equal to negative b. B is 3 over 2 times negative a. 2 times a, and a is negative 1. So this is going to be negative 3, so this will be 3/2. All right, so that will be 3/2 there. Now I have to substitute that into that equation. So I have 3 halves squared plus 3 times 3 halves plus 18. So this would be 9/4. And then this would be 9 halves. 3 times 3 halves is 9 halves, and then 18. So let's see here. I have to, okay, so, well, let's do, so I'll write everything as a denominator of 4. So minus 9/4. Then I have to multiply this by 2. So that would be plus 18/4. And then I have to multiply 18. Okay, here. And so I'll have, so this will equal 9/4. Just those two. Negative 8 plus 18 is 9/4. So what is that? 2 1/4. And then I have to add 18. This is going to go up the chart. So this would be 20 1/4. Whoops. So 20 1/4 there. All right, so remember that. So 20 1/4. So that's going to be way up there. 20 1/4. Somewhere way up there. I think yours, yours would be on 20 1/4. So a vertex is at 1/2. X is 1/2 and Y is 20 1/4, or 1 1/2. So it'd be way up here somewhere. 20 1/4. Right? So the axis of symmetry, well, that's just 3 halves. So that was 3 halves. The vertex we said was 3 halves and 20 1/4. The y-intercept, that's when x is equal to 0. So if you just plug in 0 into your function here, you just get 18. Okay, so that would be like somewhere here. 18. And then if we draw the graph, we sketch it, we go through, so it will look like this here. There we go. It look like that. Does it reach a minimum or a maximum? It reaches a maximum right here at the vertex. All right. So there, and we'll worry about domain and range on the next test. So there you go. So that's a copy of your test. So I will review everything in the video here to help prepare for your test, and you should do well on it. And again, you'll have a practice test. So look at the video here, and that should help you out as well.